Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm a big fan.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
I just sort of show up every day and try and do something worthwhile, and if it lands, it lands, and if not, I just try again the next day. Honestly, there's no secret here.
Oh, that's awesome. I think that's beautiful. A lot of people think it has to be big, it has to be amazing, and it doesn't. It just has to be whatever.
I started out trying to do this big curated, we're going to do all these events and it's going to be scheduled and everything is going to be perfect, and then I realized, wow, that is unattainable because I have a family, and it's important that I'm not just out there trying to help people, but I'm paying attention to what's going on in my own house. So we dialed it back a little, and I find that through that learning curve, which is what I'm calling 2019, giant learning curve, I sort of reconnected with the purpose of why we're doing Project Nightlight and got back to the root of the stories, because it is about the people and not about my plan at all. Yeah.
So what is Project Nightlight?
Project Nightlight exists as a way, as a platform really, to help people share their stories. I think at the base of everything is human connection, and if we're lacking that in some way, somebody saying, I hear you, can be really powerful. And I think that through photography, I see people in a different way than maybe they see themselves. So I like to shoot everybody after they provide me their content, they tell their story. And
Shoot as in take their picture.
I take their picture. Right. I like to take their photograph. Don't think about that industry lingo very often. And then we post it on our website and link it to our Instagram account, or vice versa. And what has happened is it's not just a place for people to post their story, but it's become this community of support, which is so amazing. To hear the way that people support one another and they've never met, maybe they don't even live in the same city, I think is pretty incredible.
That is amazing.
Yeah. And after that, we are doing a couple of events a year where we're just trying to bring everybody together, community events. And I think it's important through Project Nightlight that I'm responsible about the space I'm creating. And I'm not a psychologist, and I don't have professional training in psychology, but I've been interested in it my entire life. So I've built this pretty wicked community of professionals who are there to support us. So anytime we do an event and people are there showing up real and in person with their big emotions, we make sure we have somebody on hand who's able to, well, that's some jazzy music in the background.
Where is that coming
from? Our Google just turned itself on. It's right behind you.
Oh!
If you'd like to unplug it.
I was like, what?
Well, that's fun.
Oh,
There we go.
that's so funny. I was like, is that outside?
Where did this come
next door?
from? It just started.
Oh, that's so funny.
Dance break?
Dance
You're
break,
fond of those.
always, always, yes, yeah.
So yeah, that's what we're doing here.
Wow, that's very cool. And so when you have your events, you said that you have psychologists that will show up just to support?
Yeah. So we did one called the Awareness Project in the summertime. It was in the Neverland Boutique, which is the art collective where I have a studio space for my photography and for Project Nightlight. That's where you'll come if you have your feature shot, photographed. But the boutique space, we basically brought together families, and there was a portion for adults and a portion for children. And the kids got to learn from real live working artists some new art techniques. If they left there feeling like they learned a new skill, great. If they left there thinking, painting's not really for me, but I had fun today, also great. While they were doing that, the parents took part in a panel discussion. So we had two psychologists. One was an art therapist and one was a clinical psychologist, and myself, and then 3 or 4 of the featured people that we have on the platform. And they were talking about their experience. That one was focused on art, and we hope to do a few other ones focused on music and movement and animals in the near future.
Oh, I hope you do that.
Yeah,
And
it was really incredible, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I love how you're incorporating, well, your photography and other kinds of art forms. I think that's so powerful.
I think one thing I heard when I was a kid was, you just have to find your thing. But But what if you don't know what your thing is? What do you do then? So the event portion of Project Nightlight exists solely to expose you to different ways of maybe coping. Or maybe you just come out and have a great day with your community. Either one is a success for us, but I just think unless you've been exposed to these ways of dealing with life, I mean, let's face it, what artist is an artist because they don't have something to work through, right?
Exactly.
So if you've never been exposed to that type of, that modality, you wouldn't know to maybe try it. So just about gaining new tools, I think.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. I love that everything you do is about creating connection and community.
Absolutely.
Whether it's through your social media with the stories or your events.
Yeah.
I think that that's so amazing.
I think that's all there is, really.
Yeah. And that is all there is.
Yeah.
I think the reason why we have a mental health crisis is because we've forgotten that.
Yeah, we're less connected than ever, I think.
Yeah.
And I think the ironic part is I think we're less connected than ever, partially because of social media, and that's where our nonprofit lives.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, but I really do think that there's great aspects to social media, and that the world got so much smaller overnight, so we can access all of these other people and all of these different ideas. So we're just trying to focus on the positive side of that.
Oh, and you're doing that because you're right. It's a great way to get people's stories out, get support out,
Yeah.
bring people to awareness of greater things.
Yeah.
It is. It's such a tool, and you're using it to its full advantage, I think.
We're trying. I have a really great network of support, and when I first started, it was just me, and I put up a post, and I didn't intend it to turn into anything, and then I realized people were responding and people wanted to talk, and we grew this volunteer community, which is so great. We're going to start introducing you to them in January, and they're all doing a little feature. But people who just showed up and said, I want to help, which was so incredible, and I was not expecting it. So infrastructure wise, I was not prepared. I wasn't prepared for people to care like I cared, you know?
Wow.
And they do. So unreal. But we tell every feature that we put up there, I don't care if you get 1 like or you get 1,000 likes. It's not about that for me. The goal is twofold. First, that you're able to tell your story, hopefully in a way where you can reframe it from a positive point of view, and own it. Own that story, whatever it is. And then the next step. And then second, what we try and do is provide this community. And if one person responds to that and says, oh my God, me too, or doesn't even say it, but just feels it, then we've done our job. Awesome. Yeah. I don't honestly care how many people see it, as long as I feel like the right people are gonna see it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm so curious. So how did this start?
Well, I had a lifelong obsession with how people work and what makes us tick. I went into marketing because I thought it was the creative side that I was chasing, but it's the psychology. I've always been fascinated by why we make the decisions that we make, especially if we grew up in the same house and have the same parents, and oftentimes have very different ways of looking at the world, and that was really interesting to me. So when I had my own kids, I really tried to create an environment, some days better than others, where they could talk about anything. Sometimes I regretted that because they don't stop talking. It's constant, but it's good. And then so when my oldest was in grade 2, because she was like me and felt everything in a big, big way, she encountered some really tough times. She was trying to help somebody who didn't understand what was going on with him either, and she saw him suffering and tried to befriend him. And unbeknownst to this little guy, he had some really big, scary stuff to deal with, and didn't have a lot of support at home, so nobody was really getting to the root of it. And he ended up manipulating Sophia, and it turned her place of school, which should be accepting and wonderful and a safe place, into a horror show. She didn't want to go there. She had a safe word, for God's sake. Like, it was intense. And what I learned through all of that was you have to advocate, like hardcore, for your own kid. And also that don't feel like the school system is full of bad people. I feel like it's full of people who don't understand how important mental health is. And the ones who do have to fight through so much red tape to be effective. So why is that? Why are we so afraid of this word?
Wow, yeah.
Nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
And is that because they don't understand and it seems scary? Sure. Is it because they don't understand and therefore think it's not important? Sometimes. But I really think it's ignorance, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. You don't know until you know.
It's true.
So how do we start that? What's a very base level that we need to start at? And it's just talking.
Yeah.
The first time you hear someone say something shocking, you have almost a visceral reaction to it. The second time, it's not quite the same, It's not quite as shocking, it's not quite as scary. So I really feel like the only way we can have as many days in the school as we want where we focus on mental health and playing games to get us to talk about our feelings, but if that support it's not being modeled at home, it's only going to go so far. So I think that kids are going to do what we do. They're not going to do what we say. So unless we can show them that it's okay to talk and it's okay to have feelings that aren't happy and positive, and learn how to cope with those in a way that doesn't hurt anybody else, they'll have a lot easier time to do that themselves.
Yeah.
Rather than I'm 37, I think. I am 37.
We lose track.
And I just learned this in the last few years. Not because I had great parents, but we didn't talk about it. We didn't talk about anything.
No.
So that is the goal. So it started as me posting one day out of frustration in a very personal way that I didn't do that before. And the reaction was intense. So I just thought, this is needed and I don't know where it's going to go, but I have a platform I can use. I want to do something with it.
That's amazing.
And here we are.
And here we are. And now you're coming to our conference.
I'm so excited about that.
Me too. I am. And you fit so well with our theme this year.
Oh,
and
good.
And Project Nightlight, you're doing a workshop. Can you tell us a little bit about what to expect at that?
I can tell you a little bit. So I don't have any idea what the rest of the workshops are going to be like, and that's intentional because I just want to focus on what we're doing. I want it to be about the people. So we're going to have a few of the features that have been on the website and told their story there with us. And I want it to be as interactive as possible. So if you have questions, come talk to us. If you just want to tell your story or find out how you can tell your story or what's the point even, Why would I do this? Why would I air my dirty laundry to the world, as I've heard it asked before? We're there to answer questions and we're also there to listen. So I want to take you through a little bit of what we do and then maybe do a couple features while we're there.
Oh, that would be so amazing.
Yeah.
Because some people are just dying to tell their story.
And sometimes I think we just have to be asked. So I'm asking, come tell your story. We want to hear it. Yeah. And it's a room full of people who are supportive and who have been there and have been through the process. So I think it could be really incredible.
Oh, I think it's going to be absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, I just got goosebumps.
Yes, yes. And then I got this little deck of cards from you.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at your display outside your office here in Neverland, which, by the way, is phenomenal.
So cool.
It's the coolest place. And you have to tell me about these cards.
Okay, so this is Chit Chat. And my kids named it. And do you remember the game in the 90s called Table Talk?
Yes.
It's sort of like that.
Oh.
It's intended to be a conversation starter. So if our entire point is to get people talking, but it's hard to talk to our own family, we're probably not going to practice it very often. So this is a really easy, low pressure way to get people talking. Some of the questions are meant to dig a little deeper, and some of them are, for anyone who's seen Elf, you'll understand this. Would you rather spaghetti and syrup or some other odd food? And just getting a conversation started around these cards. So you put it in the middle of your kitchen table or stick it in the console in your car, and when you're on a long road trip, somebody can whip it out and you pass it around. So caregivers get to ask kids questions and vice versa. Adults can play with adults. It doesn't matter.
Wow.
And we just pull a card and everybody answers the question.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. So can I ask you one on here?
Sure you can.
This says, if you were a dog, what would you spend your days thinking about?
Ooh, okay, this was my daughter's question. And she specifically asked that we put this in here because our dog sleeps a lot. He's an English bulldog, so all he does is nap.
Oh.
So she said to me one day, I wonder what he thinks about. And I said, Nelson probably just thinks about food and his next nap. But if I were a dog, I would spend my days thinking about what we were all trying to say to him. I know he can understand emotion. I don't necessarily think that he can understand our specific words, which started a really good conversation with my daughter and I, who is 4, about the difference between emotional language and verbal language. So it was incredible. So we had to put it in the deck.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what you learn about your kids just
Yeah.
by asking a question like that.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Can I ask you one?
Sure.
Okay, we're just gonna unpack this here. This is what they look like.
That's awesome.
There is a holder, like a box for them. I can't for the life of me put it together so it looks fun. It looks like my 4-year-old did it, so I just don't put them out with those. Here's a good one.
Okay.
What sounds do you enjoy most?
Oh, well, because I'm a dancer and because I'm a hip hop dancer,
Yeah.
I love beatbox.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
Because the sounds that people make out of their mouth
Yeah.
is phenomenal. And
With
you're like,
no instrument.
I had no idea we could do that. I mean, I can't do that.
I can't do that. I'm not gonna try.
But yeah, I love that. That's I think this is phenomenal. Like, how do people get in touch with you? Get these?
Okay, so anyone who's attended one of our events, I just give them out. We do have them here at the studio if you want to stop by and say hi. They're outside, so really just come grab them.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna have some at the conference as well.
Oh, I think people should definitely participate in this.
I think so too.
Yes.
We might play it a little bit.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if people are interested in Project Nightlight.
So Project Nightlight, you can reach us on our website or on our Instagram, which is Project Nightlight YYC. And really, the only thing you have to do is be willing to have a conversation with me about the process. And we don't curate your story. It's not up to me to decide what the most important part of your journey has been. We basically have a discussion around how the process works. And that is simply you sit down with a pen and paper or at your computer, whatever feels right for you, and you write down your story from the first point of importance from your perspective. It could be about a struggle that you went through and overcame. It could be about something you're in right now. It could be about something you witnessed alongside someone in your family who you supported. Everyone has a mental health. Everyone. It is not just people who are at the end that we're interested in hearing from. We want to hear from everybody because there's somebody out there going through the same thing somewhere. And then, yeah, we take your pictures and we put together this lovely little package, and hopefully at the end of it, you see the support that comes out of it and you feel better.
Yeah.
It doesn't fix anything, but it's a starting point. Yeah.
No, community, it heals, telling our story.
I think so too.
Anyone who reaches out to us at the National Hope Movement, who want to tell their story and get in touch with you.
Yes,
Oh,
please.
we will get them in touch with you.
Yay.
Just
Thank
because
you.
there are many people who say, I want to tell my story, I just don't know how.
Yeah.
And I think writing it out is a great place to start because it really makes you focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have something. You have a tool now in your toolkit.
Yeah.
When you're out there, someone says, "What's your story?" You're not rambling on for an hour. You've got this skill.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
I think it's a really interesting opportunity to reframe it too. Did you know that there is no such thing as 100% accurate recall of an event? Your memory, so if I ask you to recall something that happened as a child, doesn't necessarily need to be trauma related, but a happy time, the mood you're in right now will slightly color that memory when you recall it.
Wow, that is true.
Yeah. So it's like playing the telephone game. I whisper something in your ear. By the time it gets to the 12th person, it's slightly different. Our memory is families like that. So knowing that, we can get ourselves into a headspace where we're open to just exploring our story, whatever that is. And we don't need to curate it. We don't need to sound a certain way. Just put the words down on paper and then go back and read it. And that's where the editing becomes powerful. You can leave out whatever you'd like to leave out, because it's not about teaching anyone anything. It's just about sharing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I've heard Dr. Dan Siegel is one of my favorites.
So amazing.
And I love how he talks about when we make sense of our story, we're able to write a new one.
Absolutely.
But we can't write a new one if something hasn't made sense to us yet. And so
Yeah.
you're helping people make sense of their story.
I sure hope so.
I say so.
It's
yeah.
a bit self-serving because every single person that we feature is therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly how to frame that, but I love it so much. I mean, we're a nonprofit. You know, you don't do this type of thing because it's high paying. You do it because you love it.
Yeah.
And I really just want people to feel that when they go through the process and feel supported.
Oh, so good. So good. Well, it's so nice to meet
Yeah,
you.
you too. And thank you for inviting us to be part of what you're doing. It's so incredible.
Oh, I'm thrilled. And I know everybody's in for a real treat. So, yay stay tuned.